Yes. So, hello everybody. Great to be here with you today. My name is Jonas, and with me here I have some friends from a music group at the local church City Mission. Here we have Inger Lisbeth, Madeleine, and Alexander. So the song we just sang is a song I wrote a couple of months ago, and it's in our mother language, Norwegian, and it's about coming home to oneself, feeling and knowing oneself, and the experience of this sitting by the bonfire. Being present in the moment, and with what is true and what is important. So again, great to be here with you tonight, and later we will do another song for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jonas Frigel and friends from Norway, opening this webinar with beautiful live music and also music with a message. So thank you very much for that opening, and already looking forward to see you again. Welcome to all the participants. My name is René Keith. I'm a psychiatrist in the Netherlands, and I'm the chair of the European Community Mental Health Services Network. That's an international community of practice of people who want to learn from each other, and we go from far north, Iceland. We will have a contribution from Iceland and Norway this evening, but we also go all the way south onto Portugal, and at the moment I am in Portugal myself, and also we go from Ireland all the way to Ukraine. So we have many countries involved in this community of practice. We always want to learn from each other, and one of the important topics of EUCOMS is the importance of lived experience as a resource, lived experience with which you also can support the recovery of others around you. And that is not only the case in mental health service itself, it's also in other social domains. And the domain that we are going to focus on this evening is the domain of prisons, and therefore the title is The Wealth of Prisons, the wisdom that's there in prisons and in people with that experience, and how they can support recovery of other people with similar experience. So we always start our webinars with the contribution of a person with lived experience, and I'm really happy that this evening we have Áslaug María with us to tell about your experience. Áslaug María, the floor is yours.
Yes, hi, thank you. Hope you can hear me. Yeah, my name is Áslaug María, and yeah, I'm here because I have experienced being in prison, and also I am volunteer and up here in prisons here with Afstaða, which Guðmunur will talk about later on. But I went into the being up here after about 5 years out, 6 years out of prison, and just I wanted to. I work in a mental health institution here, and I'm a nurse student. But I think being up here is so important because you don't talk to someone who has the professional distance, and I can meet people where they are at, and it's a common understanding when people are telling about situation. You can relate on a deeper level, which I think is really helpful. And I think when people are inside prisons and they know someone is taking a time and get nothing for it, just people want to give their time to come and talk to them and relate and have discussions about everything or nothing, people feel valued. They know people are coming just for them, and I think that is important. So yeah, I think I changed my name after my sentence, after I was in prison, to I put Maria in the middle, just because I don't want, now you're probably gonna Google me, but I didn't want people to Google me. And because today I'm not ashamed of it and my past, but I think it's important for me to, I don't have a secret, but it's my personal matter, and I want to just have it close to me. I don't want it out there. But yeah, I think it's a changing life experience being inside. And I think probably because I'm a mother and a lot of things in life, like I'm a person, I'm a mother, and I have roles in life like everyone. But I think the hardest part is you get stripped of everything. You just, I don't know how to put it, but you don't have the roles anymore like you had. You're just in the same place doing the same thing, and it's yes, yeah. I think it's important to understand that, because it's talking to a professional who is really well educated. It's different, because the understanding of what you're going through, you need to have lived it a little bit to get the deep understanding. So yeah, I would like to see peer support everywhere around the world. So yeah, is my 5 minutes up, or?
Yes, well, you have some more, but I think it's a very clear message, Áslaug María. Thank you for sharing that, and it's so important indeed that that you have an experience that is indeed a resource, and that you use it now for others, to help others, to support others. So that is really of great value, and it is for me as important as science and professional practice. Lived experience is an equal resource. So I'm really happy that you're with us to share that. And of course, also very interesting, because I was indeed wondering about your name, Áslaug María. And now you tell the story of that you added the name, not to be Googled, but well, you're open about it now. But so I hope people will not abuse that. But of course, we are very interested in your story. So we will come back to you in the end, Maria. In the end of this webinar, we ask you to watch and listen during this webinar, and that you share your reflections on what happened in this webinar with us. Your thoughts, your reflection. How was the experience for you to be in this webinar? How's the language that we use? How are we? So please do that. And for all others, we have a Q&A section in your screen. You see it below, question and answer. So all the questions and feedback that you have, don't wait till the end. Put it right away in the Q&A section, so that in the second part, after the second round of live music, we will have your questions to all the speakers. So if you have a question ready to Áslaug María, please put it in the Q&A. Then we go to the next speaker. He is also from Iceland, and his name is Guðmunur Ingi. And Guðmunur Ingi has a long experience already with the experience of prisoners, how that can be used, and his titles that he talks about the situation, how you go from prisoners to policymakers. So I'm happy to give you the floor, Guðmunur.
Yes, thank you. I'm gonna try to put the slides on. Let's see.
Yes, we can see your slides.
Okay, you can see my slides. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So, hello, good people. I'm looking forward to share my personal experience with you and the story of Afstaða. My name is Guðmunur Ingi Þóroddsson, and I want to thank you for being here and listening to me. Before I start, I just want to tell a little bit about myself. So since the millennium, or in 28th of December 99, I have received 24 years in prison sentence and served 16 years in prison, mostly closed prison. So it's around 4.5 years since I finished and completed my sentence totally. So I've been a free man for like 5 years time. But today I am the chairman of Afstaða, and I've been chairman there for around 11 years now. I am also employee of the welfare department of Reykjavík City in the matters of homeless people and special projects like working with ex-prisoners that the city look at like a little bit dangerous and difficult. I am also in various groups from the government, working groups, and we are making policy and harm reduction, decriminalization of consumption doses, and policy of alcohol and drugs, improving situation of prisoners after serving their sentences, and working groups of the National Commissioner of the Police on the exit program, which is like for people who want to stop crimes. I'm also in working groups about treatment and mental health issues of prisoners and drugs rehabilitation. We also educate and have lectures at the ministries and the prison guard school and the police academy, and yeah. So for those of you who don't know what Afstaða is, then it is a non-governmental organization that is devoted to the rights of the prisoners in Iceland and their families. Founded almost 20 years ago in a prison cell by myself and 4 other prisoners who were doing prison time in Litlahraun prison. So Afstaða will celebrate 20 anniversaries this January, next January. So going from being a prisoner in the Icelandic prison system to working to being a policy advisor in prison matters in Iceland is a journey that I could never have imagined 20 years ago. But today I can say that this experience have taught me the value of hope, trust, and how things can change when people work together to improve the quality of life of others. So I'm having a problem with the slides here. See.
We're still looking at your first slide, but you
So here we are.
There you go. Very good.
So it was the end of December 99 that I first went to the prison. So around 25 years ago. And at the time when I had plans to be in Manhattan, New York, celebrating the millennium, instead I found myself in a solitary confinement in the largest prison of Iceland, which you can see on the slide there, which is not actually so big, but in Iceland it is. So this, the isolation would affect me in many ways. Although I was locked up, I quickly found that this experience unites some prisoners, and that with solitary, even a small group can have a voice. We established a prisoner consul which had the simple goals of improving our lives, whether it was more time for doing sport or more time outdoors, where we walk in circle, basically for a few hours. So it was about coming together and helping all prisoners to have better access to simple rights that could make their prison stay better. Being part of this small council was my first experience of trying to influence a system that seems closed, difficult, and burdensome. But I quickly learned that within prison, people often have to compete for influence, and groups can form that work for their own benefits, basically, in prison. And I still remember very well the incident when another group in the prison used the method of distributing hashish, giving away hashish, so they would be elected in this council, actually, in a selfish way, of course. But that experience shaped me because it revealed the importance of integrity and standing up for the common good, even though it seems difficult in the prison system. After this, the authorities became interested, and during the revision of the law on the execution of sentences in 2005, a provision was made that prisoners could elect their own spokesperson who could work on prisoners' issues and represent them. The Prison and Probation Service requested the cooperation to establish an association that could operate within the prison and advocate for the rights of the prisoners. So this was the beginning of Afstaða, which we founded together, several prisoners, and initially the association was limited only to this prison at the beginning. It's called Litla Hraun or Little Lava. We have a lot of lava in Iceland. But the years passed and the members worked to improve access to the rights and support within the prison. The association activities expanded, and in 2014, our association was in all prisons in Iceland. Afstaða does not discriminate, and we work for all prisoners. It does not matter what you have done. And everyone else that are involved in prison matters or are clients to the Prison and Probation Service. Afstaða was founded on the idea that prisoners could speak up for their own interest and advocate for improved conditions, just like other groups in the society. In the early years, we tried to achieve better quality of life within the prison, but as the association grew, we realized that we could have a big impact on the entire country. Afstaða was not just an association for isolated group of prisoners, but for all prisoners in Iceland. This goal took time to develop, but once we got there, we brought together all prisons in the country and worked for the interest of everyone, and of course the society. After the new director of the Prison and Probation Service took office in 2008, circumstances changed a bit. And in fact, we had a large scale of struggle beginning over there, where Afstaða, our association, was hindered in work, and they did it in many ways. They was not happy about us that we were changing the system a little bit, and people will start listening to us. So that included by moving our chairmen of the association between prisons, so we would lose direct access to our members. This made our work more difficult, but we realized that the potential of the media, and we decided to inform the public through articles and news and interviews about the conditions of prisoners and how things was really in the system. By doing so, we managed to get the media and the public interested in prisoners' issues, and we started talking about life in prison and the humanity that we felt was missing in the system. We used many ways to do that, like and all the ways that the internet had to offer at this time, even though it was not entirely according to the rules and laws in Iceland, because at this time prisoners could not have internet. So what stood out at this time was how the public received our information, and we had never realized how little people knew about the prisons and condition of prisoners in Iceland, and what was happening behind bars. So we could see that we are changing the public attitudes and how they acknowledged that improvements were needed in the prisons. Yeah, so when what can I say, when matters begin to boil over with the cooperation with the prison and office, the parliamentary ombudsman, he sought a settlement between us, and we realized that although we were in conflict, we were actually both working towards the same goal, to improve conditions and to create a better rehabilitation and betterment of prisoners. So since 2016, we have had a successful cooperation with the government, which had led us to being a part of various committees and working groups in cooperation with the National Commissioner of the Police and the Prison and Probation Service, and many ministers. So we could see that this was important for both of us, as we understood that the cooperation can lead to real change. With a new understanding, everyone started to work together in this. And this has actually resulted in us today influence decisions about prisoners' rights and policy making within the justice system. One of the things that Afstaða put a lot of effort in was building a trust with the new prisoners who came to serve the sentences. We met with them and create security and we helped them to adapt in the prison system, as well as addressing difficult issues such as bullying and mental challenges. This trust we built proved to be the foundation of our field team, which has been operational for a few years now, and we have also continued to support people after the sentence, as prisoners often have a very difficult situation when they go back to the society. So peer support has made a difference, as prisoners often trust other prisoners more to discuss sensitive issues. We have seen the result of that work, as many former prisoners have received support from us and returned to the society without problems.
Yes, I would like to use that effect, what you just said, as sort of wrap up of your presentation. I know you have want to
Yep.
tell more, but so maybe we could also use the Q&A in the end to tell a
Yes.
little bit more. But could you now sort of wrap up with some sort of conclusion? It's really impressive what you have been through and how the idea that started in a prison cell literally became, in fact, a social movement and gave you this role. So what's your take-home message for the people in the audience?
Yeah, I think like today that now we are actually helping out like 1,500 people yearly. We have 2,500 cases yearly, even if we have only a population of 200 prisoners. So and we have started to help out families, and so basically what we stand for, and Afstaða stands today as a testament of how people who have been through prison can utilize their experience. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Guðmunur, for this very important message, and I'm very impressed. It was new to me when I learned about this and was immediately interested, and it's so impressive how you have done this and also have overcome the trouble, the role of the ombudsman. There's a lot to learn from you, so thank you very much, and we will get back to you in the Q&A, but thank you for sharing this very important story. Then we go to Norway, to Johan Luthe. Can you the floor is yours, Jan. Can you share your story in Norway?
Thank you very much. Can you just confirm that you can see my presentation?
Yes, we do see it.
Thank you. Wayback is the foundation for life after imprisonment. My name is Johan Luthe. I'm currently the managing director of Wayback. I'd like to start with how it all started. Wayback started back in 2002 in Oslo prison. We had high reoffending numbers among the inmates, and they wanted to do some change in their lives. So they wrote a letter to the prison director and really wanted to start an NGO where the aim is to support other incarcerated people with a return to society. And they wrote in a letter that we need assistance, we need money, we need articles of association, we need housing, we need financing, we need everything. They're all drug addicts, and the way we drug addicts work is like we want everybody else to do as much as possible and us to do as little as possible. So I asked the prison director, why did he really help? Why did he assist us to start this NGO? And he said that the last sentence in the letter was that we understand that change happens in our own mind, not in others. So it was the understanding that they understand that change has something to do with yourself. So this is finally my presentation is up and running. So this is how we really started. Now, what kind of qualifications do I have to sit here and talk to you? I have several years behind bars. I'm a heavy former drug user. I've been using most of the drugs that were available at the moment I was using drugs, which is now more than 12 years ago. That was actually the time I left the prison last time. So I finally managed to change myself, and I understand, and I wanted to use my own experience the way the Maybach people did in 2002 to support others on their way out of the prison, meeting society. I know that from my own experience that I've failed over and over and over again. I was also met by others and motivated by others to ask for help. But I said, no, I'm not that stupid. I don't need anyone. The last time I left the prison, I decided that I had to try because I'm not helping myself this way. So then I actually met people from Red Cross, and they showed me the way to society. Then I understood, yes, even though whatever you think about yourself, in order to change, you have to understand that you need to ask for help. And I think that's one of the key lessons I learned in my life, was that we have to understand that we have to ask for help. We can't do everything on our own. Another thing I learned in the position in way back, because we all have lived experience, is that we need some distance to our own history. We need distance to what we have learned, because the people were failing over and over again when they didn't have the proper distance to their own challenges. This is the bridge. This is how you feel the distance to society. And our job is to reduce the gap to society. In Norway, the prison service, we have the proximity principle, normality, dynamic security. Punishment is a lack of freedom, and you keep all your civil rights. Anyway, Norway is not that fantastic. European Convention on Human Rights, we have broken Article 3 several times. The Convention Against Torture and Other Cruel, Inhuman and Degrading Treatment or Punishment, we have broken. Solitary confinement in prison is normal. It's not normality in society, but it's normal with solitary confinement. The Ombudsman delivered a special report to our parliament in 2019. This is the strongest message that the Ombudsman can deliver. Nothing has happened since then. So we want now to prove with research. We have signed up with Prison Substance Use Disorder, which is Oslo University, with others, in order to do the research work that others haven't done, in order to prove with numbers that the prison population in Norway really suffer, and we need to change it. So in order to do that, we need to start on the top level, not only politicians, but also directorates. We have formed a user council, and that's 2 years ago, I believe. I'm running the council. It consists of victims, consists of formerly incarcerated people and relatives. We're all stakeholders in the interest of returning to society in order to become good neighbors. We also like to use our experience in forming and developing new detention houses, rescaled. We believe that rescaled should be small scale. They should be differentiated. It means that we should not adjust to the detention house. The detention house is already adjusted to the population, prison population it means. But I think the most important is the community integration we have, that we can be a resource in the community. We can be something in the neighborhood. The neighborhood can ask for our service. You can use us as a bike shop. You can buy a coffee. You can buy the cakes. You can be something in the neighborhood. I think that is something that you can see. This is something that can blend in the community. And this is how we want to use our experience, not only as peer supporter to all the people leaving the prison, but also on a systemic change, political level, as well as all the bureaucrats. We are now asked, how should the service be? How should we develop the future of our detention houses, prisons? How should people be released? How to understand the challenges of our prison population, mental illness, drug abuse, etc., etc. Well, I think this is my 10 minutes.
Thank you very much, Johan. Thank you very much. Another really impressive story. And so happy how you also made your own experience into this movement involving, and also the connection with the prison staff and with the family members. Really very impressive. So to all the audience, there's a question and answer section below it. I don't have any questions yet. Please put your questions in there. Use the opportunity that we meet these wonderful people this evening, and that you can have your feedback and your questions to them. We now go to Lithuania, because in peer expertise, and we are very much in the Nordic part of Europe this evening, but an exchange has taken place, and that in a way has helped Lithuania with the topic of peer expertise, which are completely new to it. And Greta Glidzute is going to take us into that exchange and the lessons learned. Glidzute, please.
Hi, everyone. I hope you can hear me and you can see me. So, first of all, I would like to begin by saying that I am really grateful to be here, and I'm really happy to hear those presentations and looking forward to hear more. Because for us in Lithuania, it's really important to search for ways how peer support can be implemented. Because as Irene mentioned before, in Lithuania, we do not have anything started yet. We just have some small steps taken as an organization to do something. So my name is Greta Glidzute. I am a representative of an organization called Mental Health Perspectives. In Lithuania, we work for over 24 years now, and we work in mental health and human rights sector. And for last couple of years, we were working on how to implement peer support in Lithuania, where to begin and what to do. So a year ago, we visited Iceland. We had a connection with an organization called Trausturkjarni, and we participated in intentional peer support training course. And myself and two of my colleagues became peer supporters as well. And from that, we realized that collaboration between organizations is what we need right now to search for ways how to implement peer support in different settings. As I mentioned before, we do not have anything right now. So talking about welfare out of prisons is out of reach for us right now, as we still are working towards how to implement peer support first at the beginning in mental health sector and in mental health facilities. So this year, we had a great opportunity and we got funded by Nordic Council of Ministers Bureau here in Lithuania to bring experts from Iceland and from the Faroe Islands to Lithuania and try them to inspire our health sector on implementing peer support. Because for us, we see that peer support is not only a way how can we provide better services and how we can strengthen the recovery approach, but it's also a huge social change. And as you know, it's not easy to do as in countries that has peer support in its system. I think you know that social change can take time and can have its difficulties. So we started from the beginning, and we started from the visits to the stakeholders. We visited with Iceland, with guests from Iceland and Faroe Islands, Vilnius City Municipality, where we talked with heads of mental health hospitals and outpatient clinics. We also went to visit some clinics that are here in Lithuania working towards recovery. So one of them was a patient clinic, other is stationary clinic, inpatient clinic. And one of the most important things that we did is we talked with the Ministry of Health of Lithuania of implementing peer support, because for last couple of months we were talking with them about this huge opportunity and project on how we can be as an organization be funded to implement peer support. So for us, it's such a huge opportunity. But I realize, and I think you all know that sometimes those things from the ministry can be bureaucratic. So right now we are kind of stuck in a bureaucratic regime, and we don't know how everything will go, how this project will go. But I think this visit from Iceland gave us quite a nudge and gave a ministry a nudge that we need to do something in this way, and it to be done sooner than we are working towards right now. So one of the most inspiring things that happened during this study visit that I'm really happy about was a co-creation session. We did this co-creation session according to Mental Health Europe organization guidelines, and the main focus was to invite people with lived experience to this session for them to suggest on how can we improve services and how can we implement peer support not only in mental health services but in other environments as well. So I think we had great outcomes, but for us it's really important that we talked about peer support not only in the healthcare settings, but we also shared ideas on how can it be improved, not improved, but how can be established in other environments as well, and how can other environments can foster peer support. So I think it's really important for us to think about welfare of prisons in our next steps as well. But what we realized that for us is really important a recovery-oriented service delivery that puts person and his needs in first place. There's a huge need of institutional culture that promotes and expects the information on human rights, because as the speaker before we're talking, in Lithuania we still have quite a lot of human rights violations in all of the settings. Mental health is not exception of it. So we need openness of mental health professionals working in institutions to include them in their practices, and we surely need removing bureaucratic obstacles in the introduction of mutual support and what is happening right now. So the outcomes of this study visit is really tangible right now, because we are in the communication and in having a dialogue with the Ministry of Health of how can peer support can start in mental health services, and we are really happy and grateful for that. So that was on my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Greta. And also good to tell that Lithuania now has become very active also in our network, as the Ministry of Health decided to become a participant of EUCOMS, which means that mental health professionals now can participate in all our seminars. And we also hope that one day we will have a seminar in Lithuania on what happens there, because in mental health interesting things are happening, and you bring in the peer expertise with this exchange, and we really appreciate that, Greta. So we come to the final speaker before we go back to the live music, and that is Anne-Marie Loftus, also from Norway, and also a peer expert leader with whom I've been involved in a match in the Global Leadership Exchange. I'm really happy to see you again here, Anne-Marie. Please share your story about moving forward.
Well, thank you so much. I am working as a researcher with, and I have lived experience, or perhaps I'm a peer specialist with the research experience. I don't know. Anyhow, I use my knowledge to promote lived experience. I was asked together with Freymar from Iceland to send an application to a Nordic funding. So I'm going to present this application. Just a minute. And we have called the application a Nordic Peer Support Network for Prisoners Reintegration. So it's a Nordic collaboration to promote prisoners and ex-prisoners social inclusion. And BLI we have translated intentional peer support curriculum to Norwegian. So to make it a good Norwegian expression, we called it bevisst likepersonsarbeid. That's more telling, we think. So back to the application. It was related to demo, and that is a Nordic funding program for civil society organizations working to strengthen and promote Nordic cooperation for the people of the Nordic region. So this is a collaboration between 3 Nordic countries. So the aim of this application or project is to enhance support systems for ex-prisoners by creating collaborative network of NGOs across the Nordics. And we would like to use the intentional peer support network or framework to in the project so that we can foster peer development, share best practices, and influence policy making related to a marginalized group. So IPS is something that has been in working order for over 30 years, and it's also been used a lot in American prisons. The start of this is hopefully we get funding, and the start date is November 24th this year, and the end will be in mid-November next year. And the budget is 200,000 euros. So in Iceland, it's Trastakjarni, Batahouse, Geðahjálp, and Afstaða. And the Finnish NGO is RETS, and in Norway it's Way Back with Johan, and IPS, that is my organization. Well, the content, what we really would like to do is to do in-person workshops and webinars, what we call co-reflections. We would like to educate peers to become both peers but also trainers, and in the sense that we would like to create this Nordic network and strengthen and apply the knowledge that prisoners and ex-prisoners possess. And hopefully this could also one of the core things with intentional peer support is also to see and to make peers or the lived experience worth something. So, and it's going to be social media and websites. It will be the communication channels, but we will also use in person meetings. So just to explain short what intentional peer support is, that is a trauma-informed and relational framework. It is international, and the approach it's used in prisons in the United States. And we would also do some core trainings for peers. So all in all, this project will include 160 persons. So in January, we hope to meet in Oslo. In April, it will be a partners meeting in Iceland, and also participate on Geðahjálp's Social Change Conference, international conference, to have some workshops about our work, and also how prisons or prisoners and ex-prisoners experiences are really valuable for the society. So in October, they are planning a trainer in Finland. So people who has taken the core training and want to become trainers, they have a possibility to take a course. We would also like to include the youth's perspective. So we would like the young opinions into our decision making in the project. And we hope that having a little bit experience and getting experience to do organizational work make it interesting to perhaps develop as future leaders and advocates for change. And we hope that this can also make an inclusive environment and also prioritizes the young participants' well-being and development. So, to sum up and the take-home message, all in all, we are really looking forward for collaboration and project ideas related to social change. So please get in touch to elaborate some good project ideas. You can reach me at anmarieloftus@in.no or IPS Norway Intentional Peer Support.org. I would just like to end this quote with this quote. One of the most sincere forms of respect is actually listening to what another has to say. Thank you.
Well, that's a very good closing remark, Anne-Marie. Thank you very much. Really interesting development of intentional peer support and how this, especially via the Nordic countries, we come in touch with that approach and how it also applies to the prison situation. Again, please put your questions in the Q&A section. And so think about what question you have or what feedback you want to give. There's already one question was about training, so we will come back to that question after the live music. Another question is now is also coming in. So so please keep on placing your questions there, that we can cover your questions so we come to an interactive session. But first of all, we go back to Jonas Frigel and his friends for more live music. Jonas, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys. Pleasure to be here with you all tonight. And the last song we do today is a cover song from an Australian artist called Xavier Rudd, and the song is called Creating a Dream. Imagine every will was free to roam. Imagine that the trees could tell us where to go. Imagine that the sun could fill each lonely heart. Imagine confrontation never got a start. Imagine things were always crystal clear. Imagine that the mind never interfered. Imagine we could fly with broken wings. Imagine that the heart could shed its skin. Please, patience, please. Patience, please. I'm creating a dream. Please, patience, please. Patience, please. I'm creating a dream. Imagine sacred sites were left to be. Imagine that true activist controlled TV. Imagine Captain Watson had the final say. Imagine that industry just had to obey. Please, patience, please, patience, please. I'm creating a dream. Please, patience, please, patience, please. I'm creating a dream.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Patience and persistence. I think those are two themes of this evening. You're really patient and
You're
also
muted, Renee.
persistent people. Pardon?
No, you're not.
Oh,
Go.
you can hear me. Yes. Okay. So thank you very much for that live music. And so we now have 3 different questions for the people. The first one was is the question about training. Indeed, because it's training something that may happen in your life, that you turn your experience into peer expert, but what training takes place? What training helps you in becoming or strengthening your role as a peer expert? Can I first ask that question to Guðmunur? Do you work with training, and if so, what does the training consist of?
Hi. Well, we have courses for our peers. We also have lessons for volunteers that go from the Red Cross in the prisons. We do that very frequently, teaching them how to, I mean, just everything about prison life, what they have to have in mind and put limits and things like that. So yeah, we have courses, and we are working on cooperation with other Nordic countries, and we were in Finland just this year, and we are aiming that volunteers from Agreti in Finland will come to train our peers in January next year. Yes, so we are building up a training program with the Prison and Probation Service here in Iceland that everyone has to go through who goes in the prisons here in Iceland.
Thank you. And how's it been for you, Maria? Your role becoming peer expert, has training take place? Did you follow a training? And if so, what was the training?
Before I started, I was working as a professional and still am at a special team at the psychiatric ward. So I just adapted from the other peers. So I used, because I was going into prisons before, just on another, in another situations with my work. So when I started as a peer, I just follow their lead and went with them and just took notes. And afterwards, I just asked questions, why and how. So yeah, and then I will be at the training in January.
Okay.
I hope.
Thank you. And Anne-Marie, can you tell about what training looks like in your context?
Yes, like to be a part of intentional peer support, we have a really good organization that run. We have a possibility to take courses, Core training is the basic one, and then people have the possibility to also become trainers. It's international, so and it runs in different kind of languages, both English and other European languages as well. So yeah, it's possible to take courses.
Thank you. And also, I'd like to, from my experience in working with peer expertise, also important that it's something you just should start doing it. Also, that's the way we did in the Netherlands. Just start doing it, because otherwise, don't get delayed by, oh, first we must have the perfect training. This is about learning in practice. We learn most in practice anyhow, so definitely this so it can be enriched, but sometimes the tendency to wait until you have the perfect training. But also with lived experience is just do it, just start it. Just start like Guðmunur started in his prison cell. That's really very important message, I think, to start. But there was a question also from the context in Africa. That one of the questions that can use from Africa, Zambia, be part of the training as emerging leaders. A question from Robson Banda. How would that be? Who can answer that to the context in Africa?
When it comes to intentional peer support, it's much online training. So that is one way of doing it, and also it's possible to get some of the trainers to the sites.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, maybe we can connect you to each other. The one who asked that question, and it's interesting that indeed that across Africa, peer expertise, lived experience has really become a widespread phenomenon. Also, there's a global mental health peer network that also is based in South Africa. So there's a lot of experience there already. But so indeed, with online training, we could reach Africa just as well. So please get in touch about that. Then we have a question of Michelle Kerrigan from Ireland, telling, well, in Ireland, significant overcrowding in prisons. What's it like in the Nordic countries? Can you, Maria and Guðmunur, how's about crowding and overcrowding in prisons in Iceland?
Yeah, well, yes, we have like 200 prison cells, I think, around that. We have all prison full, but there is only one person in each cell, so we are not putting 2 or 3 persons together like in some countries, even some Nordic countries. But we have like 700 people on a waiting list. So yes, we have a little bit of problem, but we do not put more than one in each cell. But I was just talking to the prison office today, and they say everything is completely full. So we are waiting for a new treatment sector, but that's only about 10 cells. So we will fill that out very fast. But there is also many in community service now, and people maybe we are making the time for community service longer, so people within 2-year sentences they can just go in a community service.
Okay. Well, thank you. Then there's a question to all presenters. Someone asking, I would love to know some of the challenges that you face with the implementation of the peer support model. So that's a question to all of you. Can have your own challenges in this implementation. Please share it with us.
I can start.
Yes, please.
one of the things that I really have found it difficult, I've been working with the implementation of IPS in Norway for 3 years. And what I really discovered is that there are no money that can make it possible for people to take the courses. So there has been a lot of free spaces, and we have had funding so that people could take trainings for free. But it's also a very regulated market. There are some big actors that takes all the cake. So we are just we can't come in. So I think that is really a big difficulty. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. And for you, Maria, what have been for you the challenges?
Challenges. I think Iceland is so small.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I don't know. I don't really. I feel like being small, like the population is not a lot here, and being that small, it you almost know somebody both on a personal level and some not, but everyone has heard of everybody almost here, and if here like almost everybody is related, that's the saying here in Iceland, because like it's really small. So I think maybe it's a challenge sometimes, but working with a peer group, we just focus on sometimes splitting up. So I think that's good. So
Yeah.
I don't see any big challenges. So
No.
that's maybe.
But when you say it's a small island with a small population, now is that you can both see it as an advantage as a disadvantage.
Yeah, it can be both.
Yeah.
So.
And how have you overcome that yourself? Because you said first, you had this other, using this other name, in fact, to remain under the radar, so to say, but now you're more open. So to what extent? Because it's really something that we're talking about that's often called like stigma, the stigma, the belief that citizens who have been in prison have less value, or there's something wrong with them. How has that been in your life, this aspect of stigma? I would like to know that from you and also from Guðmunur. Do you recognize that, and how has that played a part?
I feel like it is. I went to prison first in the US, in America, and the embassy brought me here. So, but I think, of course, it's going to be a stigma. It's stigma with this. It's stigma with a lot of things. But I think. I think it's underestimated how much trauma is just going into the prison system. And I think people just often, it's things that people don't want to talk about, criminals and things. It's simplified. But it's all people, and everybody has a background and a reason why it happened. So I think the problem is the stigma because it's so simplified.
Yeah.
It's like you're a bad person, you did a bad thing, and period after that.
Yeah. Because what I sometimes hear also people say that, well, they can only see me as a prisoner of someone who commits a crime, and not, for example, in your case, as a mother or as a citizen with a family or whatever. Is that something? How is that in your life now? Because you're both proud, you have your mother, and how that changed your life.
I think it's the feeling you get when you are in prison. It's a feeling you get, like I was trying to explain. It's like I know I am a mother and I know I am a good person and everything, but the feeling is that you're not, and you lost that role, and you lost your roles in the society. So I think getting back into everything, it's I think you have to I think you have to do a lot of work.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
So and reclaim your role as a person, not a prisoner.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you. And I'd like to combine the same question to you, Guðmunur, about the challenges, but also with the experience of like 20 years that you already had. The next question of Lisbeth van Gent from the Netherlands. How do you find peers, and what are inclusion criteria to accept peers? So who becomes a peer in your network? Can you answer both questions, Guðmunur?
Thank you. Well, I think the challenges for us here in Iceland is that we don't have so many resources, solutions for people to help them and take on their problems, and so basically the reason is that we are the only Nordic country that have punishment system, not rehabilitation system. And even if we are trying to change it now on next year, hopefully. So when our peers come in the prison, we are the only thing what they got. We are their social worker and psychiatrist and parents and grandparents and everything at the same time. So we get a lot of on our shoulders, actually, and we go out from the prison very tired. But we try afterwards we make us inform and we push the cases in the system and try to help them out as much as we can. We go so much in the prison and we are in so good contact with the prisoners, and we have built trust for so long time that we try to influence the prisoners to take on and be better and help us when they go out, to be peers. And we have some kind of rules. We choose very carefully because we don't wanna, I wanted to say fuck up things in the system, but we have to trust the people, and we have some rules. You have to be out from prison 1 year, then you can start to be a peer. And we evaluate this and this, but yeah, it's going good to get peers at the moment, and our groups are split 50-50. We have peers with lived experience and have been in prison before, or prison system, and the other part is professionals, people.
Yeah.
They are like a social worker, mental health nurses or priests, or all kinds of professionals that they go in groups together in the prisons. So we have both professional side and the peers together.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that was very interesting when you told that. So there, in fact, you are a community, both of people who have been in prison, but also people who work in prison. You form this community together, which is yeah. And how has that worked? How is the experience with the professionals working in the prison, being part of your network? What they're not present here today, but can you speak on their behalf?
Yeah, for me or for us, it's working very good. We are so happy that we are getting so many professionals who have interest to work with us in this, because that's not something that, you know, we would imagine that it would happen. So we have experienced like people who have been working inside the prison before. They have been social workers for the prison. They know the people. And they are our professionals to give us advices, professional advices with almost everything. And they help us to go in the news and talk about prison matters in the news, because it looks like people want more to listen to them than us, maybe.
Yeah.
So that's also good for us. So yeah, it's going very well, and we are also doing this so the prisoners will gain trust to professionals, so they will try to get the help with professionals, because they don't really want to go into institutions or try to ask for help. So we are trying to build this trust between professionals and prisoners.
But it's a general lesson learned in stigma that the only thing that really helps against stigma is meeting. Now, of course, people work in the prison and prisoners meet each other, but here you meet more as equals in this, that you're part of this community. But I was curious, why is the rule that you have to be out of prison for 1 year? Is it a rule was it imposed on you, or was it a rule that you made yourself?
No, it's a rule that we made all of us together. We have regular meetings that we meet all together, and this is one of the things we decided, so we can evaluate the person, what is he doing when he comes out, because it's so much risk. We have actually more than 50% recidivism rate in Iceland. So we want to be 100%. We are so small country that if something happens, if someone does something wrong, you know, we don't want that. You know, we don't want nothing to happen in the prison. So.
Okay, but you can't be already like a peer expert when while you're still in prison yourself. You must be out of it, and you must be out of it for at least a year.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Then we have a question also from Africa, Godfrey Kagai, who runs peer support groups in Uganda. One of the key challenges, the contribution of peer support workers and reform healthcare system, especially at the community level, has not been recognized. Another issue about sustainability and funding for peer support programs. How is that? How can you, because you're the living example of sustainability with a movement over 20 years. How have you been able to do that?
Well, we have, I think they have been recognizing us for last years, more or less. People are listening to us now. If we send article, they now listen to it. They didn't do it before, but now they can see that we are right. We know what we are talking about, and this is why we started to do this all the time, sending articles, letting people know what is going on in the prison system. But we have not actually been recognized good enough in the government. Even if we are in many committees and work groups and we get some kind of money, then we are not getting enough funding so we can have people working for us. We have only volunteers. Everyone who are in this are volunteers. Yeah. So we have been working on that for all this year, but then the government split up and now there is a new election, so we have to go through everything again next year. And we were hoping that, because this is so much work, and we have many people working almost more than they are working their own work, you know. And so we can't go on like that forever. So we are pushing very hard now to be recognized and get the funding we need, because we want to do this very professionally.
Yes. On
a equal basis.
Yes. Well, thank you very, very much. There were two messages also from Ireland again, Michelle Kerrigan, about the Care After Prison program, and they accredited peer mentoring program. So that's very interesting. So please, if you're not already done, please also leave your mail address so we can reach you, that we can, in fact, create this international learning group, the community of practice of this, and also the important message of Marlena from Finland. But yeah, she said the concept of desistance, that's a new word for me, or should it be resistance? I'm not sure, but please let us know, because we don't have time anymore to deal with all that. Thank you very much for all that feedback. It's been very, very rich. But we do now come to the closing, and the closing, as always, is that we give the person with lived experience, and we have several of them, but we want to give Maria, as we promised in the beginning, the last word to reflect on how this session has been for you. Oh yeah, and before we do that, we go first of all, to announce the upcoming seminar of EUCOMS. So if you're interested in our network, at present, over the coming days, we will be in Portugal and Lisbon. We meet each other on a location in Europe 2 times per year. And the next meeting will be here in March next year, March 27 and 28 in Alexandroupolis. And the topic there will be dealing with crisis. We're talking about natural disasters, and unfortunately, we see more and more natural disasters related to the climate change. So the place where we do the next seminar, Alexandroupoli in Greece, is not a randomly chosen place. It's the place around, in fact, the area around Alexandroupoli, a beautiful town, as you can see, by the sea. But the surroundings have an enormous scar of what has been the largest bushfire that ever happened in Europe. So you see the fire on that image, and the consequences are enormous, also for mental health. Another thing is, of course, an image of very recently Valencia in Spain, where an incredible flood has taken place. And these disasters will unfortunately are bound to happen more and more and have a great impact on the population and on the mental health of the population. How do we deal with natural disaster, and also how can we learn from each other in that regard? So if you're interested in that, you're very welcome to join us in Greece in March. And you can always go to our website and register there for that, or find more information about our activities. But then the last words to Áslaug María.
Yeah, I think it's just been a good discussion about things, and I hope moving forward it's going to be bigger discussion about this all over, like she said, in Lithuania and more. I think it should be all around the world, a peer support, and just about this overall. I think it's need to come out more discussion on a higher level, and also just in the communities and in the countries. We need to discuss more about people in the system and what goes on after the system, how we're gonna move forward, supporting people to be a good person and do good things and make better on themselves and move forward from that experience in their lives. Thank you.
I think you muted, Vinay.
Oh, I'm very sorry. I was muted. I thought you were recording now. This is it works better when we're in separate countries and different screens. When we're together, suddenly unexpected things happen. Like I'm muted because I thought that he was recording, but I was still recording. I was muted. Very sorry about that. But really happy to have been with you. People from many countries got together again on this topic. I learned a lot. Really, I learned a lot. So very interesting, this movement of peer expertise in and outside of prison. Thank you very much, and hope to see you again in the future. Bye-bye.